I remember a number of years ago, when Mary and I, not long probably after we got married, it was after midnight. Everything's quiet. And suddenly I hear, what? And I hear it again. Somebody at the front door.
More happy.
And I go to the front door, and standing on my porch is this police officer. And he says, "Good evening, sir. Sorry to disturb you, but your garage door is open. We want to make certain everything's okay. Nothing gets stolen." Part of me wanted to say,
What?
part of me wanted to say, "What are you doing? I'm the sound asleep." Fortunately, I didn't do that. But I was shocked awake by this guy who had the authority in town to take care of things and to exercise that authority. And I was glad he did. But authority often comes in the face of expressions of power. It's just kind of what we live with. It's how our culture's put together, isn't it? If you look at the powerful people and the power that's expressed, you see in the video games and on TV, guys on horses with swords, or we see armies and generals, or we see Wall Street barons and skyscrapers. There are things of power that we associate.
Oh,
And when you look at the gods that people have had over the millennium, you look at like Thor with his sword, or Zeus holding a lightning bolt. There's an Aztec god who's got a spear and a frown, a Celtic god Gaga with his club he swings, and the Indian god with an axe and a knife. So gods, we have seen over the years, express power in an authoritative way that is a bit scary. Oh, isn't it? But what do we see with Yahweh? What do we see with the God who revealed himself to people over the centuries? About the God who connects into our daily life, about this Lord of all the Lords. He takes a different tack. He takes a little more gentler approach. Not that he has to, because you look at history, he has been a tough and accountable holding God. You look at the Egyptians on the Passover. The Red Sea floods back and they all drowned. There was an incident when his people were threatened, and he sent the angel of death, and 185,000 Assyrian soldiers died. You look at Sodom and Gomorrah, he did not like what they were doing, and they burned up. He's capable of power. He's capable of authority. He's capable of annihilating those he wants to get rid of. And if he wanted to be a God who just exercised his power, he would probably land on a mountain somewhere, and it would be a bright shining light the whole world could see, and his voice would thunder, and he would fly over us and us insignificant ants and shock us with lightning bolts. But he can do that, but that's his alien nature. That's just not the way he naturally behaves. He's a God of love. He's a God of grace. He's a God who builds people rather than just destroys them. And so the way he comes to us is oftentimes may even be seen as weak. He doesn't come in destroying fire. He comes in his word, and he comes in the Lord's Supper. Doesn't come on a big horse with a sword. He comes on a donkey. He doesn't land and explode and make himself known. He shows up one day in a dirty, cold barn as a helpless baby. And what do we see in how he talked to David today? What do we see when he talks to Mary? He works through people. He's a God who works through us. You know, the word of the Lord could have landed in this big, beautiful book, or this tablet made of gold, or the word could have just kind of plopped down to us from the sky. But it didn't. How did it get to it? Why do we have this Bible? Because he worked through prophets and people to create it. How does he come to us? He comes to us not in a statue or on a mountain, but his presence is here in the wine and the bread and the water used to baptize. Whenever two or more people are together, he's present. He works through people. And that makes him different. And so, because he works through people, he can't just come to us in this big, scary presentation. He's got to come to us with a gentle invitation. And that's what we see today, don't we? You see the angel Gabriel coming to Mary. And the angel says to her, hey, greetings, O favored one. The angel says, hey, you, it's your lucky day. I got something for you. And then she has these questions because she's pretty freaked out by this. And the angel gently answers those questions. How different than these other gods that would come with a spike or a spear or a fireball or something else that would terrify. Our God Yahweh comes with gentle words. And why is that? Why does our God do that? Why does the God of all, who's built the entire universe, why does he do that? He can come to us in power and fright. I'm going to ask that question. Why do you think? Come on. Give me an answer. What's that? Do not fear. Why does he? Why? He doesn't want us to fear.
He doesn't want us to be afraid.
He doesn't want us to be. Why doesn't he want us to be afraid? I think you're onto something, Donnie. I won't put you there.
If you're scared of something, you don't go cut. There's a difference between fear and afraid.
I'm glad we have a band, don't you, Marty? There's a difference between fear and afraid. Yeah, the fear of the Lord is a respect and kind of a cautiousness, but to be afraid is like running away. Yes, I think you guys all pass. Yeah. God is a relational God. He wants connections. He wants us to know him intimately. And if we're running away because we're afraid, if we're fearful, we're not going to be in that intimate relationship with him. So he doesn't want to do that. Additionally, he wants to spend time with us. And again, if we're afraid, we're not spending time with him. He wants to be with the people he loves. And so he invites us with gentle words. Gods who have shields and spears and fireballs and all that, they get respected. They get, as John just said, they have the fear of the Lord in them, but they don't have the relationship. And our God is one of relationship. And so he gently speaks to Mary, answering her questions and inviting her, telling her his plans for her, and telling her her place in the world. That is the blessing of the God we have. That is who is coming to us this season. That is why we're marking with candles that Ray led this morning. That is why we wait for him. Because He is a God who desires to spend time with us this season. He will be at your Christmas celebration. He will be with you when you're out with your friends drinking wine, when you're having some great Christmas meal, when you're opening presents, when you're chatting around the Christmas tree, whether you're up in the snow in Tahoe sledding, or down in the beaches of Australia having a barbecue. God is going to be with you this season because He is a relational God. We have a God who comes to us not to demand our respect and attention, but to ask that we have a relationship with Him. He comes because He wants a relationship with us. That is what we wait for. And that is the reason we light the candles. That is the reason we sing this great Christmas music and celebrate this time of year. What a great reason to celebrate. In Jesus' name, amen.